Hi all, we're gonna do something different today. We're gonna make a simple sweater and then add some trim. And by trim, I mean these fun things that you can find in this store, but you never know what to do with. I have so many beautiful floral trims and geometric design trims and burlap trims and sparkly trims and leaf trims. You guys get the idea, right? So what I want to do today is make this sweater again. This is the Sew House 7 toaster sweater. I chose this one here, the mock turtleneck raglan sleeves, and then really cool cuffs and a waistband as well, because I want to add some trim to this fabric. So I'm gonna put this sweater together using this fabric, and then I'm gonna choose which trims to use and see if I can decorate the sweater, not too over the top, but I wanna decorate it in honor of spring. So if you have some trim left over, or you're looking for new ideas to add some pizzazz to your sweaters, you could actually do this with any sweater, even one in your closet. Why don't you come along and see the outcome? Thanks. Here's the pattern all cut out. Let's go through the pieces. This right here is the front. I always mark my front with a clip, and it's a raglan pattern. That's why it looks like this. The front, the back. These are the cuffs. Notice how this pattern does the cuff, so it really hugs your wrist. It's angled in there. That's really helpful. I have the sleeves. You can see I've also clipped the front of the sleeve. This is the turtleneck. This is the front band, again with a clip on it, and the back band. What we're gonna do next is plan how to use our trim. So let's get a closer look. Apologies if you can't see me that well. I really wanna focus on this though. This is the front panel. I like to put some of my trim on before I sew any of the pieces. It's easier, you're only working with one layer, and you can use the seams to your advantage. Now, as far as trim goes, this is a stretch pattern, so your choice of trim is also very important. You have to choose a trim either with a bit of stretch, like this, or if you're using trim that has no stretch, you can only use a part of it. So what I decided to do with this one, let me just show you. You can still use this. I think I'm gonna cut out that rose pattern and use it. So in between the front seams, I think I'm gonna put some of this. This has a bit of a stretch, so I'd like to do something right here and right here. If I sew that on like that, I can layer the other fabric and just sew it right into the seam. I have multiple colors to choose from, so before I decide what color to use, I need to finish what I'm gonna do on the front. Now I have two options. I have this. I like this flower here, so I just cut it out. I think that might look cute there. So to match the rose flower, the big one, I have these little ones. And what's nice about these is they actually have a bit of a stretch so that you can use more of them. So I thought I could come around the edge, either do something like that, or maybe across the bottom. This is where it helps having made this pattern before. I know for me, the bottom under my chest is about 14 inches down. So this row would come right along there. I think I'd like to cut another flower to match it up. All right, this is starting to look cute. Back to the pom-poms. I need to find a color that matches, I think this rose. Let me see if I have it. All right, so these three are pretty close. I like the idea of going a bit darker to highlight the rose right there. So what I'm gonna do is just take this cut it the same length as this seam here. Actually, I'm gonna give myself a little extra. Always good to have extra wiggle room. I'll clip that down. Okay, now that's one option. I have a second option I'd like to show you. It's a totally different color scheme with these and a totally different idea. So what I was thinking with these flowers is to actually cut them up. Let me show you. Okay, I've cut several off, and then what I thought is I could just sprinkle them around the front of the shirt. In fact, I could do these all over. I could do the front, the back. I could put some on the sleeves. That would be really fun too. And I don't have to worry about any stretch because I just sew on around the middle of the flower so that when the garment stretches, this doesn't matter so much. It's not going to prevent the garment from stretching. Uh-oh, I'm leaning towards this idea now. Also because I can match the center of the flowers with some pom-poms to give it a much brighter look. Let me see. I have orange, green. That's too green. Well, oh yeah, I have the purple, and that's too dark. So I could use the purple pom-poms around the top, and then the orange pom-poms. Is that getting too colorful? I like this though. I think I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna do this. I love that other idea too. That's one you could use. What do you think? This will be cute. I found thread that matches all the different colors. How lucky am I? All right, I'm gonna put together a semi pattern and then go ahead and sew these on. So here's the front panel. I have placed the little flowers where I think they look good, and I put a little pin in there just to hold them in place so that when I get to sew, they won't move around. I've sewn some of them already. These blue ones are already attached, and I'm just gonna continue sewing the rest. So what I've done is, pin is holding it in place. I'm just gonna go from underneath, poke the needle up, pull it through, and just sew all the way around the middle of the flower. So this step is done. I finished sewing on all the flowers on the front, the back, and the two sleeves. I've laid it out like this so that you can see the next steps. What we have to do now is sew this front onto this sleeve right here, front to sleeve. And then once that's done, we sew the back to the sleeve and the back to the sleeve so that we'll have all the sleeves sewn on. Just note, this is how I did the pom-poms. I stitched them down about 5/8 of an inch away so that when I fold this over, I line that right up, and I'm gonna sew this down right here so that when I flip it open, the pom-poms will stick out. Nice trim. Ooh, see that? It's all together now. That's how the yellow pom-poms look. Did you guys notice how I used darker flowers on this side and lighter on that side? These are the arms, that's the back. Now what I have to do is put in the turtleneck part. Quartered the neckband and just clipped it on to the shirt. All I'm gonna do is sew around there. All right, now I have to sew it together at the bottom sleeve and down the side, and on the other side, the bottom sleeve down the side. We're almost done. Now for the cuff, you sew it right sides together and then you turn it inside out halfway so that it looks like a cuff. Let's try it on. And look at that, nice fit against the sleeve. Just sew it together there. And moving on to the bottom waistband, you flip it in half first and then make sure you have your flowers pointed in the right direction, right side to right side, and then just sew it onto the bottom of your shirt. All the way around, putting the clips in quarters and stretching it as you sew. Good job. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Duh! It's so cute. I love this pattern. This is so comfortable. It has a lot of ease here. It still looks really fitted, but This toaster sweater pattern is awesome. And how about the extra decorations? Those were fun too. It was kind of nice to do a little bit of hand sewing, and it didn't take as long as I thought. I really like the results. So if you guys noticed, I played around with the color. I had yellows and greens and pinks going up this way, and then blues and purples and orange that way to meet in the middle. I tried to do something jazzy down here, and I think it's playful enough where I don't have everything lined up properly. It's okay, right? But of course, I did the back too, and I am loving this. I love this pattern so much. What I'm gonna do next is make a couple more versions. This time though, I am going to see what I can do with the pattern. I'm gonna add some gathers and maybe do some different kinds of sleeves. I think it's gonna be really fun. I might even do some more trim. I'm not quite sure about that, but if you like this pattern and if you want to see me make another one, including the other toaster sweater that is in this Sew House 7 pattern, why don't you come along and see what I do? Thanks.